Hello and welcome to the Daily Space for today, July 12th, 2019. It is another air conditioning day, but I can at least turn the air conditioning down to a lower level so it's not quite so loud. Um, Welcome to summer in Illinois. Today, in addition to a whole lot of heat, we have a whole lot of science. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the new creepiest robots on the hill. Now, when I say creepy, intelligent robots roam among us, some of you are going to think Cylons, some of you are going to think Boston Dynamics. Well, you also now need to think of JPL. The Pasadena-based Jet Propulsion Lab is joining the robot revolution and has released images and videos of wall and rock climbing robots. This one isn't too bad, but this one may give you nightmares. With these fishhook and claw-slinging robots, well, they're meant for exploring other planets, but this doesn't prevent the folks at JPL from releasing them upon the Earth. And the team has been testing their digital critters on cinder block walls and sandstone cliffs. While I, for one, generally welcome our robot overlords, I have to admit that a robot that climbs walls with fish hooks is a robot I do not wish to encounter in case it mistakes me for being a wall. Yeah, that is one nasty looking robot, but it does its job. Okay, on to robots that bomb asteroids. Our next news story comes to us from the Japanese space agency JAXA, and it concerns the Hyabusa 2 space probe. This mission has successfully touched down in a crater of its own making, and this is a crater that it created by dropping an anti-tank explosive on the surface of the asteroid Ryugu. Now, this particular image is actually an artist's rendition, and in these images that were released on the Hyabusa 2 Twitter feed, we can see as the robot probe approaches the surface and then fires a bullet into the crater it made with an anti-tank explosive, and shoots all sorts of debris up into the air that it can collect. In these additional images, on the left you see during the flailing of the material, and on the right that dark smudge is what is left behind after the encounter. Let's put this another way. Hyabusa 2 doesn't mess around, and after bombing Ryugu, Hyabusa 2 shot the asteroid with a bullet and then grabbed samples that it's going to bring back to Earth and throw at us. Yeah, someone really needs to write a manga about this mission. I've got nothing else to say, so I'm going to move along to our next story, which is the discovery of what we think is a moon forming around an extrasolar planet. In previously existing images taken by the Very Large Telescope Sphere and MUSE instruments, astronomers had discovered the presence of two large gas giants, Jupiter-like worlds, orbiting the ever so eloquently named PDS 70. Combining those earlier results with new images acquired with the Atacama Large Millimeter Array, astronomers have been able to detect the presence of a dust disk around one of those two gas giant planets. Here we zoom in on the Atacama images on the left and the VLT near-infrared images on the right, and you can begin to see that dust disk in the location of PDS 70C. It is thought that this disk is forming at least one moon and possibly many. By following these worlds as they orbit that star, we're going to get new insights into, well, how planets forming moons interact with the surrounding dust disk that might be forming more planets. It's solar system formation all the way down. And to transition from planetary disks to galactic disks, today's news, well, continues to be disky. New Hubble Space Telescope images of the spiral galaxy NGC 3147 reveal a thin disk of material surrounding a supermassive black hole in the center of the system. Now, generally, supermassive black holes are often seen to have disks of material around them. But these disks, when they're around galaxies that aren't extremely active, that don't have massive jets and show signs of an actively feeding supermassive black hole, those disks are expected, if they exist, to be bloated up. And in systems like this one, no disk is expected at all. And that's why they were studying the system, to look at the lack of a disk. But they found a disk. And it's not bloated up. It's super thin, pancake shaped, not donut shaped. And this is deeply confusing. It's unclear what's going on here, but whatever the physics may be, the science has at least produced a beautiful question and a beautiful image. And this is why we do science. It's to figure out, well, what we don't know and expand our knowledge. We wish we understood how everything works, but we don't. Not yet. And that's really it for today. Yesterday we had a super long set of stories, and today, well, we don't. So I'm going to go ahead and answer your questions. Please, while you type them in, at me, at CosmoQuestX. And while you're typing those questions in, I'm going to remind you that we are a production of the Planetary Science Institute, a 501c3 dedicated to exploration of this solar system and beyond. We are brought to you by you. We are supported through your generous contributions of bits here on twitch.tv, your subs, and your patronage over on patreon.com/CosmoQuestX. Those of you who are patrons on Patreon will get transcripts of what I intend to say during each of these episodes sent to you in your inbox. Your subs, bits, and patronage allows us to pay Susie and Annie to keep this show going, to get things moved over to YouTube. And thank you. And if you can't help by sending us your bits or dollars, that's okay. There are lots of other ways you can support us. Get the word out that our show exists. We come to you 1 p.m. Eastern, most Mondays through Fridays, and Sundays we have the Sunday Science Hour with our own Annie Wilson. We also bring you launches, landings, and everything in between. Tell people, get them here and get them learning the science. And thank you, Astro Wise. I don't have any treats to give the doggos, but I can show you the doggos. Here are the doggos, all three of them. The extra is Malachi. He's a foster dog wearing a donut of shame because he was neutered and he now needs to go back to the vet. So you're not seeing the dogs. Oh, sorry, transitioning. There are the doggos. Hello, doggos. Okay. So, yes, all the doggos. Thank you, Keeper of Maps. Thank you for your compliments, Nicandria. Thank you, Astro YYZ, for your bits. You guys are fabulous. Yes, the story on Malachi. He spent 3 months lost in the woods, finally got caught, and was so shy and timid that no one wanted to adopt him. So he was in a shelter up in Des Moines, Iowa since before Christmas. He's now staying with us, and he seems to, well, other than having the cone of shame, he seems to be settling in well. And He's absolutely amazing, and gets along beautifully, as you can see, with my other two. So, come here. Somebody come here. Eddie came. There's Malachi. Come here, Malachi. So yeah, they're both very, very sweet. Malachi is still terrified of most everything. He won't take treats consistently because he's afraid of what you're gonna do. Yeah, he is a sweetheart. So yes, he is going to go to the vet later tonight, and hopefully we will be able to get him something. So that whining you heard earlier, which is because his dangly bits are swollen and hurt after having the inner parts of the dangly bits removed, he's in a bit of pain. We're going to the vet as soon as they have an opening, or at 9 p.m., which was their next opening. But this has nothing to do with science. Nicandria, if I knew the scientific term for that fleshy bit that covers the gonads, that is left behind when they remove the testes, I would use the scientific term for that fleshy bit that conceals the testes. I don't know the name for the fleshy bit. Scrotum, that is indeed the name for the fleshy bit. Okay. That is extraordinarily swollen and red and gross, and he is whining and in pain, and this show has taken a very strange turn. Yes. Binary ablaze giggles. Yeah. So we're doing what we can for him, and he's uncomfortable, but there are 4 toilets in orbit. Yes, there are. And yes, you do sometimes need to squirrel. It is true. Keeper of Maps, I didn't know I was going to be discussing this live on air, so I didn't think to Google it ahead of time. Sorry, Planetary Kristen. Sorry. Yes. Okay. So, science. We are looking for science. I'm just going to keep saying science. Okay, I'm going to scroll back and find your questions. Okay. Hey everyone, there's so many of you today. So Perrin Manor said just doing the Spider-Man, and now I have the theme song to Spider-Man caught in my head. Spider-Man. Okay. So Veronica Cure asks, was Hyabusa 2 funded by military? Well, it's Japan, and so it was more like the military occasionally uses things that are developed for science. Japan, when I visited, it was like stepping into a non-dystopian future. Because they have so little military spending, they have an amazing nation with amazing infrastructure, and they took money from the military to fund science, which is kind of the opposite of what most other nations do. I'm totally behind that. Okay. I am seeing no other questions. Tongue twisting Pamela for the win. Yes. Tongue twisting is a thing that happens around here. Eddie is the sweetest Paranor. It is true. There are more bits or something scrolling down. Thank you, Trekker Kev, for the bits. Thank you. I'm having my soul stolen by Eddie at the moment. I have no anything to give the doggos right now. Let me see if I can point the camera at Eddie as he tries to steal my soul. Now he stopped. Um, okay, so if there is nothing else that you want to ask, um, I am going to figure out how to map Bennu. And I am doing this as a reminder that we have an extension. We have been extended until July 22nd, and we are more than halfway done. And with your help, we can map all the images. Um, the images are a special hellscape of boulders and rocks and more boulders and more rocks. And I have a squeaking dog. And together we can map all of them. Now, the reason that we're doing this is OSIRIS-REx, while less aggressive than Hyabusa 2, has a very similar mission. It is going to be going to, you can't see what I'm doing, you can see dogs. There we go. So the question is, how many rocks are we up to right now? Let me open up something to tell me that. So we are trying to find the place where the Hyabusa 2 mission can go set down on the asteroid Bennu and safely grab a sample. So here, nope, I need to choose the database on a different part of my screen so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. So here is going to be, oh, that's my vet. I'm going to take that. Here, look strictly at the dogs. Hello? Hi. Okay. She isn't limping quite as bad. I have a foster dog now that is crying and crying because he has inflamed scrotum from being neutered, and I have an appointment at 9 p.m. So I'm having a vet week. So what were your findings on Stella? Okay. Okay. I don't remember. Okay, so Hi. I have no idea where the audio is coming from, so I just killed all audio there for a moment. So you now know far more about my dog's health than you wished. It's basically turning into $1,000 vet week because Stella slammed herself against a tree trying to catch invisible birds, like all four paws off the ground multiple times, and then started limping because she hurt her dew claw. So many x-rays later, there is nothing broken. Her dew claw was just at a weird angle and is healing nicely. And now Mr. Malachi is having issues recovering from getting neutered. It's a week, people. I may not have children, but I have dogs. Yeah. All of you who are like, Stella. So we named her that after the Tennessee Williams play so that we could shout, Stella! And that is what I'm shouting looking at my credit card bill this week. Yeah. Okay. So the question was, how many rocks and such have been measured? And I don't know if I can make my font bigger, but I will try. So let me type a word. Yes, I can. Select, count, star from marks, group by name. Okay. Except I know that's lowercase, and this probably will go faster if I do count name from marks, group by name. I know, Malachi. So let's find out. I'm gonna run that. And it says column name, unknown column name and field list. So clearly I don't remember my database structure. So I'm looking. Content. Type. It's called type, not name. Okay, so let's try this again. And this command is going to take it a minute. Unknown. Oh, I didn't change both of them. Apparently my brain doesn't work when I have a dog whining behind me. I know, Malachi. I may suck it up and take him in for an emergency visit. He has the earliest visit we could get, which was at 9 p.m. tonight, but he's whining more and more and more. It's okay, baby boy. He knows humans can help. That's a good thing. There are such things as doggo pain meds. You can give them aspirin, and we also have something called gabapentine. And I may give him some. Told you this query would take a minute. So it's working to figure out how many rocks and boulders and craters have been marked. Long query, big database. Just a few, Veronica. By which I mean millions. Many, many millions. So keeper of maps, yeah, I probably do need to put an index on that column, but I don't want to do something dramatic like that to our database until we're done. And that Fenring is one heck of a really bad pun. I see you. I'm being leaned on. I promise the query is working. So while the query works, let's see if I can do some image marking. Let's move you over there. Okay, so the way this works, for those of you who haven't seen it, is the image has boulders and rocks. And rocks are anything that is the size of the blue dot, which is really hard to see on this image, to 3 times the size of the blue dot. Boulders are things that are bigger than 3 times the size of the blue dot. And with the boulders, you want to measure them along the long ways. And where things hang off the edge of the image, just do the best you can. And what we're doing is we're trying to find the areas that seem least potentially hazardous for the OSIRIS-REx spacecraft to touch down and grab a sample of rocks. Now, we didn't expect the world to look nearly this gross. Like here, I have a boulder that has a rock. Actually, that wasn't the long direction. I'm just realizing I did that wrong, so I'm going to erase it. So that is a rock on top of a boulder. So I'm going to mark the rock. I'm now going to mark the long way across the boulder. And the query is still going. And so by combining the results of at least 15 different people per image, what we're finding is we can get a sense of just how dangerous each region on Bennu is for the spacecraft to potentially touch down. And the places that look safest, we're going to do follow-up imagery of. And using that follow-up imagery in, I believe, December, the spacecraft is scheduled to do a grab and go, during which it is going to steal rocks from Bennu using what is perhaps best described as a very angry vacuum cleaner. Okay, the query is done. Okay, so the totals are, these numbers are small, 6,401,723 rocks, 2,558,059 boulders, 74,289 craters. Yeah. And we're about 2/3 of the way done. We still have a lot to do. Can you help? Please? Please? Now, we were expecting a world that was much less rocky, and we did not anticipate that the challenge of mapping this would be quite so hard. So please get all of your friends to help, and let's show NASA that, hey, people like us, we can do this task for them. We just sometimes need an extension because the world is way more complicated than expected. That's all I've got, other than a really, really squeaky dog that I'm kind of thinking I may want to not wait for tonight's scheduled vet appointment. I may take him in early. So because I want to check on squeaking dog, I'm going to laugh at what Guido just typed. And 1,000 computer mice and touchpads cry out in agony. Yes. Keeper of Maps is asking, if they knew Bennu was like this before going, would they have still gone to Bennu? I don't know that. Yeah, 6 million rocks. 6 million rocks. This is a carbonaceous asteroid that has more metals in it than a normal carbonaceous, but it's not a metal type asteroid. It's weird. Yeah, that's all I've got. Please map rocks. Please map rocks. And I'm going to see what I can do to make this dog more comfortable, because his squeaking is breaking my heart. I'm going to take care of the doggo. Wherever you are, please get people to help us map rocks. This is all I ask, really, is help us map rocks. And I am going to roll the credits, and I am going to raid Oh Bother. Raid Oh Bother. And I'm going to remind you, we are a production of the Planetary Science Institute, and we are produced by you as well. Thank you for all your contributions, your patronage, your subs, your bits. You make this show possible. Now, please mark rocks at bennu.cosmoquest.org, please. And wherever you are in the world, have a fabulous morning, evening, or afternoon. And I'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye.